Welcome to To Mic, produced by More Studios. My name is Rumesh, and
It's your boy Samir, and we have Alex Veas, the programming manager for City in the Community Foundation. How are you doing today?
how are you doing?
Doing well, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, so a bit of a brief history would be nice about you. Like, how did you end up as a project manager?
Program manager for
Program
CITC.
manager, sorry.
Well, I started my coaching career some time back. Just a big fan of the game, a big fan of community, a big fan of giving back, making a difference through the sport. Very passionate about soccer, so I wanted to stay close to the game, and so I decided to start coaching on weekends. That turned into a little bit more of a full-time gig. I look for ways to get my certifications and licenses to coach at a higher level. Went that route for several years. And it landed me coaching gigs at companies like Super Soccer Stars, which then after that, I worked for a local club here, a big club in New York City, Downtown United, Dusk,
Downtown United.
where I learned a lot of what I do now in terms of, being a program manager, coordinator, and just making things happen in the community. And so put in my time there, and then that led me to sort of propel me to the role that I have now at CITC.
How are you liking it?
I love it.
It's been a year,
great.
right? Yeah.
It's going on a year next month. It's been a great experience so far. Can't
How was
complain.
the transition from soccer superstar,
Super Soccer Stars.
Super Soccer
Dusk.
Stars, and
Yeah.
then Dusk, and then to NYCFC? How did that feel?
Yeah,
And how
so
was
so
it?
now I think everything through CITC and NYCFC, it's in a larger capacity. So we deal with more schools, more stakeholders. Everything's sort of at a higher level. There's more outreach. So everything's kind of like a grand scale. This is a pro club. So we deal with the 5 boroughs, whereas with Dusk, it was predominantly, in Manhattan and certain areas of the city, like the West Village, Chelsea. So we didn't really venture out that much. We stuck with our communities in the vicinity of Midtown Manhattan to Lower Manhattan. So here it's all 5 boroughs, and a huge one for us is Queens, and trying to raise awareness there, and stay close to the stadium and build community out there. So yeah, everything's on a bigger scale here.
So you were a coach before, or do you still coach?
I'm a coach. I'm a coach before a manager. I mean, that's what I love to do. Like I said, a lot of my experience in the beginning came from coaching on weekends, just in Jersey City, just volunteering. And then I joined Super Soccer Stars on weekends as well, and that turned into a full-time gig during the week. So, yeah, I mean, I love coaching. That's something I don't think I'll ever get away from. It's kind of taken a back seat now because I'm more focused on programming, on the communities, through managing, coaches, and helping with curriculums, and just trying to get out there to build new things with schools,
New things.
and yeah, build communities. So yeah.
So what's like a example of a project you might be working on?
If you could
Like,
share it.
yeah,
if you
sure.
could
Like
share
a
it.
recent one was focusing on Queens and the different districts in Queens, specifically, District 25, Community Board 7. So we wanted to start a really cool soccer program out there on weekends, Saturday nights. So we felt like maybe Flushing was a really great neighborhood for
okay.
us to kind of get into. So we started this new program in conjunction with the principal at Flushing High School, and our CITC team. We decided why not Flushing High School, and so now we're doing a Saturday night program from 6 to 8 every Saturday consistently. It's fun. The kids are having a blast. Coaches are out there doing their thing. So yeah, that's a big one that we recently accomplished. But I mean, we're dealing with things every day as we go.
Yeah.
So tournaments and new schools, but that's a big one.
So
as of
that's
recent.
one of the things that you guys did, and like at Queens, but obviously New York itself is gonna be huge in the
Yeah.
next years.
Okay.
We have like Copa America and the Club World Cup and the World Cup coming. So, what are your thoughts about that and the club itself?
Yeah, I mean, great point. That's exciting. I mean, I know you guys are excited. You guys
Yeah,
love the game
Of
as much as
course.
I do. So
Thought it
like
was gonna be
having,
MetLife.
yeah, having all those tournaments coming here, it's huge. I mean, you know, we're building a stadium. You got the World Cup coming to North America. You know, MetLife hosting the finals, huge. I live in Jersey, so for me, it's amazing. You know,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a Jets fan too. You know, American football, so like they play there. So yeah, it's exciting, man, and everyone who we come across is just beyond excited to have these tournaments come to us, and kind of put New York City on the map of global soccer. So yeah.
So how is like CITC or like City in the Community working towards like utilizing this hot times, I would call it,
Yeah.
hot times to like use soccer to empower other people?
Yeah, so we're putting soccer on the map, and being in New York City right now, we feel like this is a perfect opportunity to continue to expand, grow our programs. We take a lot of pride in what we do. We're passionate about community, about growing programs, about giving back through free programming and clinics, robotics, STEM programs, and things like that. So it's exciting because now, we have a perfect opportunity to get out to these different underserved neighborhoods and kind of put our NYCFC CITC stamp on it and make a difference through through free programming, which is what we do.
That's great. That's great. I think like a lot of the programs that you guys do create do really have a good impact, and a great, not even just good, there's like a great impact, because like me and Samir, we're kind of like a part of it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. So
yeah.
like regardless of what happens, I think both of us could vouch for how much of a big impact it has created. And prior to coming into CITC, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're hearing about the things that they do. How did you feel about them, and like what was your first thought on it?
Yeah, so I mean I had heard a lot about CITC, just being in the soccer community in New York City. I would always follow them on LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever different avenues. And I thought it was amazing that they can just get back through all these free programs, and they're serving thousands of kids and families throughout the 5 boroughs. I mean, it's empowering, and it's incredible. It's humbling to know that an organization can has the ability to make a difference by ways of free soccer sessions and beyond. So to me, breaking down those barriers, taking away that burden from families that they have to pay for clinics and programs and academy tuition, I thought that was pretty cool. So I was a big fan of that, even when I was working with different clubs. And I always thought, what would be the opportunity to come in there? How would I feel working for an incredible organization like CITC? And yeah, the opportunity came knocking. I was very lucky to get a phone call, and I spoke to Paul Jeffries and share my background, my experience with soccer and community, and it kind of just took off from there. So yeah, I've always been a big fan.
Yeah, I'd like to add on. I mean, like the stuff that CITC does for the kids, but not only just the kids, but also like the youth employment. I mean, I've joined CITC like the past
2 years.
3 years. I think
Yeah.
it's
2
the
years.
third year.
2 years.
Okay, 2 years.
2 years and 2 months.
I mean, you guys are all stars with CITC.
I mean, yeah,
you,
but it's
you know,
it's definitely
years.
you've
You're
been
so
around longer than me with CITC.
That's
like,
true.
You've benefited so much from
Yeah.
what they do.
Yeah, definitely. It developed so many people, especially me. I used to be the guy so quiet. I used to just sit there, watch people do stuff. But now I'm coaching
Right.
and really like facilitating programs with you guys. So that's actually, these programs are actually like improving
Yeah.
everyone, not just
That's
the kids.
also, look, that's great feedback. I mean, that's the idea, right? To be able to kind of get these folks to step out of their shells, come out of their shells, and blossom and flourish, and become their best version. So you're a prime example of someone who was a little bit shy, and now you are, like you said, coaching, owning it, representing the club, and mentoring kids through the game, and so that's huge.
Did you have a moment where you were breaking out of your shell too, or like?
Yeah, like I didn't think I could be a coach, honestly. Like I love the game. I played growing up in clubs, high school, I played away.
You ever wanted to go
And-
pro?
I did. I did. I think,
That's
I mean,
how
who hasn't
everybody
thought about
started.
that, right?
That everyone knows
I
that.
mean, we all
Everybody
have at
goes
some
through that.
point. Like, it takes a lot of hard work, but I did. I did. In college, I wasn't breaking any records or, and I don't think my work ethic was like, Cristiano Ronaldo kind of work ethic. Or Messi, which are both incredible athletes. Let's not get into that conversation, though. Don't even go there. We're not going to go there because I admire them both and they're phenomenal. And I'm just really happy that we're living like that. I get to live in an era where I get to see them both in their prime. So, but yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to, growing up as a kid, maybe like the possibility of going pro, but I also knew that it would be a lot of work, and there was a lot of competition out there. So yeah. So after college, I felt like I could, but I should have worked harder. But I didn't, and so I felt like the best way to stay close to the game would be through coaching, different avenues. So yeah.
So what prompted you to choose coaching like as a different avenue rather than like maybe being like the person who's great? Like for example, like there is obviously the coaching aspect, but then there's the referee, there's like
Right.
a club manager. Like why did you choose coaching specifically?
Well, I chose coaching, but I also, as I started getting like licenses, certifications, I also decided to take courses, scouting courses and performance analysis to try to learn the science of the game as well, analytics. I'm a huge fan of that as well. So I felt like if I learned all these things, all these traits, and I could translate my passion for the game through and find a pathway to an actual career, it'll put me in a good place and I could be successful. So I'm still working to towards maybe getting like scouting certifications or in the future becoming a performance analyst as well to study the game. But yeah, like I said, you always find ways to stay close to the game and see what options there are out there to do that. And for me, it was through coaching and actually the science of soccer and also the scouting side, which I'm fascinated by that as well. Potentially becoming an agent. So you never know. So
Okay.
my advice to everyone is like, if you love the game, like take on all these new roles, man, and just run with it. Just run with it and find out which one of them is the one you really want to go with.
What
So
would be a suggestion for for a kid who has interest in soccer, right, but is unable to go pro because of his circumstances, but would love to stay with the game. So like, what's some advice you can
yeah,
give?
so I mean it's kind of like a major issue we have in this country, right? The pay to play model. Families, kids who can't afford to play in an academy that's charging, whatever it may be, 3-4K a year. So I think just families and kids to have an honest conversation about what possibilities there are, what are your options in the city, what clubs you can potentially play for. I think it's important having that dialogue, and looking for scholarship opportunities. Like, well, this club offers scholarship. How do we take advantage of that? This one doesn't. Okay, let's forget about that one. But I think the best thing you can do is just, honestly, I can tell you as a player, is to hone your craft. How do you get better as a player? You got to get out there after school, go to the field, train, run, look at videos, focus on players when you're watching a game, see how they do it. But then, like, get that work ethic up. Get up early, go to sleep early, drink a lot of water, hydrate yourself, eat well, eat healthy, practice healthy habits, not just physically but mentally, spiritually as well. I think that'll make you a better person. And so the best you can do is to work on yourself, on your body, to become the best player you can possibly be. And before you know it, there can be opportunities coming to you. But network as well. Learn to network with people. I would say get out there into the fields, playing different teams. You never know who could be watching. There could be a scout. There could be a college coach, someone who knows someone. So I think just staying connected, but also working on yourself, I think is the best thing you can do as a player.
So what's the best advice you have for kids to connect with other people?
To connect with other people.
Connect with specific like coaches or people that they might not know, but just to
Right.
reach out to them and learn from them.
Yeah, so that's always a tough one because you could be very skillful and not be known. Like not a lot of people might know you, but I think it's just kind of like putting yourself out there and trying to play in as many leagues as you can, um, like I said, just working on your craft and becoming the best possible player you can become, but practicing good habits, um, and just being that best version of yourself, but staying connected. Maybe you meet a lot of people when you get out there and you play in different leagues. Somebody knows somebody. I remember playing a lot after college in different leagues, and I met a lot of interesting people who like pull me to Brooklyn to play, and then they pull me to Jersey to play, and then come to Bronx and we play. So just staying connected and kind of like coming out of your shell and becoming like a social butterfly in soccer. I think it'll put you in a good place to meet the right person or the right team or whatever it may be. So, but yeah.
So like going back to your career, right? What are some pros and cons in this field specifically?
This field where I am now?
Yep. And
Oh,
how do you
man.
like deal with them?
Well, let's start with the pros. The pros is that I'm close to soccer, close to the game that I love, and I get to make a difference through free programming. Um, I think it's very humbling, very rewarding when when you're out there and you see the kids smiling, they're happy because they get a chance to play, they get a chance to learn, they get a chance to be mentored. The families are happy because they don't have to reach into their pockets to see their kids smile.
I
And then we
think
provide those free programs, and to me that's more important than anything. Just watching the families be happy about the sessions and the camps and the tournaments and the clinics, everything we provide for them. I think that's to me that's like the number one reason why I do this.
Yeah, I think
And I love the game as well, obviously. So
that's true. 'Cause,
cons, you want to know the cons?
I want to add on one thing though.
I don't know if I can think of a lot of cons, but what were you gonna say?
Say that it's like for some reason seeing other people smile and like actually learn, actually be there, like enjoying the thing, and you're contributing to the reason why they're happy and there.
Right.
It just feels different.
Yeah, like I said, it's humbling to know that you're making a difference. You're contributing, like you mentioned. Yeah, it's a good feeling when you families leave, the kids leave, the field is empty, and you look around, you're like, wow, we made it happen. All these coaches, this team made it happen, through proper planning, executing. Logistically, we were there. Our sessions were solid. They were fun. The kids enjoyed it. We had the equipment. The field was clean. Parents were happy. And I think that goes a long way. So as a coach, and as someone who oversees programs, that's just a beautiful feeling, man.
And also, I'd like to add on. I mean,
do it, please. This is not all about me. It's about you guys too, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Come on.
like as a kid, right? Like in 7th grade, I obviously CITC was not that big then because it was just a startup, and I always obviously had a dream to go pro.
Yeah.
I used to look at tryouts, La Liga Academy or whatever, but then you have to pay,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, I can't. There's a stereotype, right? If I ask whenever I ask something from my parents, right? Oh, I want to be a soccer player. They're like, okay, bro, stop, right?
Right.
It's not gonna really lead into anything. Get a stable job, right?
Right.
It's just a stereotype, but obviously you have to pay for it. If it was free, and if I had the broadcast with NYCFC, City in the Community, where you guys do offer free programming, Soccer Block Community Cup, these weren't really huge until post-pandemic.
Right. They
So-
grew as years went along.
So I mean, now
Yeah.
the next generation, they could feed off of these stuff. They could be like, oh, I went to City in the Community.
Right.
I had the training, the programming with NYCFC certified stuff.
Yeah.
It's always cool just to see it.
I mean, that's what it's all about. It's like if you join CITC in whichever capacity, it's like, how can I, make the most out of this? How do I get educated? How do I gain the knowledge that I need to get in order to be better at what I do? Like you guys with the podcast, and coaching and learning the curriculum, delivery of the sessions, talking to the parents, communicating with the kids, dealing with tough behaviors in your sessions, like getting organized, having structure in your sessions. All these things you learn, through, having a proper program, a proper, department, CITC, in place that can teach you all these things. So I think taking advantage of all that, because it may not last forever, but, while you're here, just try to soak in all that knowledge, so that you can get better at everything, and it shapes you, who you are, and it builds a lot of character, on and off the field. So that's something that I would suggest. Just
Because I remember
soak
when,
it all in.
Yeah, I remember when SNL was introduced at Thomas Edison.
Yeah.
Well, the coach Bailey came, and I was like, I went there. I was like, yo, NYCFC is here. Yo.
Yeah.
I might get scouted right now.
Well,
Well, obviously,
yeah.
I didn't know like the full picture of it, but you know,
Yeah.
it's always good for like the youth to see like NYCFC.
So
is
there's a
here.
pathway too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's a pipeline where like you can be coaching, you can be a participant in soccer block or SNL, and then eventually you get that knowledge, you put it into practice by becoming an assistant coach, and that propels you to become a head coach, and then that leads to bigger and better things. And we've had a lot of folks who've gone that route, and now are Bailey, perfect example. She leads the department, and
I think
so
there's a
so
lot of
yeah,
people like that.
right, absolutely. So we have an all-star team here, man. So everyone is like well equipped to run things, and they have their own expertise in certain things. So
I think we cut you off too much. What's the cons of program of your?
oh man, don't do that to me. Nah, I don't have anything.
anything.
But like, what are some stress that you go through that you
Well, I
have to
mean,
deal with?
sometimes it's the workload could be a lot, and obviously it's just a matter of like pacing yourself, having your priorities lined up, and having a checklist, and being organized, and constantly communicating with your colleagues, and prioritizing things like what's pressing, what deliverables are due, what are the deadlines, what do I need to send out today, what spreadsheet do I need to work on today. So I mean, like any other job, that can be a little bit stressful at times, but I think if you have the proper skill set to deal with that, take a step back, breathe, relax, say, you know what, I'm going to get it done, stay positive, then you're in a good place. But I think also like working from home helps a lot too, right? Because that's something that's been around for the past few years now, post pandemic, where it's not just stay away from the office because you might catch COVID. It's more like work from home for your own mental health. It helps people. Like you're in your own environment, you get a lot done. You take care of your things at home while also being online connected, working. So it's a huge help to be able to work hybrid from the office and also from home.
So like, how do you? So I had two questions, right? How do you actually manage your time? Like, what are some ways that you manage your time in work and life? And also, like, how does it feel to work from a hybrid, like a hybrid?
Sure. So time management skills, am I the best at that? Absolutely not. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get better at it. But yeah, it's a peace of mind knowing that you can work from home. It's helpful. I like to relax, have a soothing environment where I can work well, and being at my place, it's kind of like, it just puts me in a good state of mind where I can get things done. But it's been wonderful, man. I love the idea of being able to work a day or two from home and then come to the office, take advantage of the conference rooms, and kind of like mingle with your colleagues, and take advantage of the perks of the office. It feels good to commute as well. You get to read your books and things like that. So I'm a big fan of hybrid.
So the debate that everyone has, right? Like I even read a modern article saying that a lot of kids, like Gen Z kids, want to do work remote
Yeah.
versus online. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, in terms of, I don't want to get into the Gen X, Gen Z conversation, but I feel like, human interaction's huge, having that skill set to be able to talk to someone face to face, communicate with them, meet in a conference room versus, Zoom or, Teams. It's massive because you work on your personal skills, you work on your, nonverbal communication, eye contact, the tone of your voice. These are things that you can only put into practice being with someone in the same room or in front of you. So I think that's, we're in a society now where like there's a lot of this texting, TikTok and all these things. And so there's not a lot of communication through actual, face to face. I think we need more of that. And
I think like in person is just
you guys. I mean, you're young. How do you feel about that? Go ahead.
I think in person is better because like you get the work done right then and there.
Yeah.
It's like if I need someone, hey, you
get it.
You don't have to like text someone or email
Right.
and wait
right.
for their response. Now you're just sitting there waiting for their response.
Right.
You'd rather just get it done right then and there.
Absolutely.
So that it's just, I think, remote obviously has its perks.
Yeah,
You're home,
absolutely.
You're chilling. You're on your bed. You know. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but I mean, I think it like that human interaction leads. You improve your communication skills, you
Yeah.
get better at it, and then as you get older, the more you practice it, the better you're gonna be at it, and then you'll just before you know, you'll knock it out of the park in a conference room and a presentation and things like that. You're not shy, you're not kind of like sitting there, but you are like, you know what? I know my stuff. I know how to talk to people. I can address a crowd. I'm confident. Um, I'm not cocky, I'm not arrogant, but I am confident that I can get this done because I know what I'm talking about. And so, like, just practicing those, human interactions, face to face conversation, I think, helps out a lot.
So the thing I was actually researching, right? So starting the podcast, I was like pretty
Yeah.
shy and nervous, like it's not even shy and nervous. It's just like I started a lot when I speak.
Mhm.
I actually gotten over it. Like if you actually watch the
Yeah.
first episode, I repeat the same thing over
Oh,
like
yeah.
5 times before I actually get to the point.
Yeah.
But right now I could actually get through with the stuff that I'm saying in like minimal words.
Right. 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 Right.
So one thing that I learned over the time is that if you do not have human interactions, basically think of communications skills as like this uh, memory kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like a skill. Basically, if you don't walk for a long time,
Yeah.
your brain will say, "Oh, it doesn't matter that I don't need to
You
walk
just
over."
forget it.
Yeah.
You know,
I
It's
get
like,
what you're saying.
just forget it. It's
Yeah.
basically like learning a language. You learn a new language, you don't speak it for a long time, you just forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And communication skills is the same way. And the only way for you to get better at it is actually speaking with other people.
Yeah, I mean, it's like not playing soccer for months or a
It's
year.
like-
Like maybe you
it's like a
get back on
muscle.
the field, you're rusty. Your first touch is awful. You're shooting like a mile over the goal. That happens to me when I don't play often. But yeah, in terms of like communication and talking to people, you forget how to actually do it. But I think if you practice it, if you're social, if you try to get out there a little bit more often, it also helps. Picking up the phone, calling your mom and dad, be like, "Hey, mom, I miss you. How are you?" Just constant conversation. I think it's important, and we can't just hermit and deal with our electronics every day, our phones, our tablets, our TVs. But picking up the phone, calling someone, getting out there, starting conversation with someone, going to work in the office, being social, I think that all helps out.
So what are your thoughts on, as you said, like
Yeah.
texting, TikTok, and everything, with the modern world?
Social media.
I mean, it's what it
Social
is.
media.
I mean, it's growing and it's here to stay, and there's going to be new platforms coming out, every year, and so, like I said, as long as the human interaction side is there, anything else can pop up and emerge. But I think the most important thing is communication and knowing how to properly do it. And so, but yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to technology. I think it's important for us to know that stuff, but I'm not as good at it as like you guys or like younger kids. You know what I mean? But it's what it is.
You think it's becoming a problem, or
Depends how you look at it. I mean, do you see like Snapchat and Instagram and that stuff becoming a problem? I don't know. I think it's neat to have all that information at the palm of your hand and anytime you want it, right? But if it becomes just that, then kind of we lose ourselves. We lose what we're all about. We lose that human connection.
But then there is
you
this
know.
problem though.
I think it's become a problem. Like I think about me growing up way back. You know what I mean? In my neighborhoods, what were we doing? We were playing wiffle ball. We were playing soccer in the street. We were playing tag. You know, we were doing laps around the block. We were playing street hockey, but we were out there doing something. We were playing music, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? So I don't see a lot of that now. Like I don't see a lot of kids out there in the park like playing pickup soccer, ball getting stuck under the car, going to get it, hitting the ball over the fence, wiffle ball, trying to get over the fence, not get bitten by the dog. I don't see a lot of that. And so like that was my upbringing. That's the way I grew up.
I mean,
like
yeah, that's definitely true. Because I feel like there's this funny meme kind of thing, right?
yeah,
When the cell phones went wireless,
yeah,
we all became in like a prison kind of
like
situation,
robots.
robots kind of thing. Basically, so it's like kind of funny, but like a lot of people are stick and glued to the phones,
Yeah.
right? When it comes to technology, but looking at the perspective of having knowledge accessible right there, I think that has a major issue too.
Yeah, listen, I'm all for embracing change and new technology. Um, I think it's wonderful to have all these new things and have incredible cell phones and iPhones. But like I said, because I grew up in a generation where we didn't have that back then. We didn't have cell phones, growing up, or laptops or whatever it was. There was more of a human connection, interaction. We were riding our bikes. We were, riding our scooters. We were, you know, back in like Jersey City in the winter when I was 12, 13, we were sliding down, little cliffs, sledding when it snowed. You know what I mean? Like all these amazing things that I don't see a lot of kids do now. So, listen, both things are incredible. So, like I said, I embrace change. I'm all for technology, but I think, kids should be able to go out there more often with their parents and do more fun things.
So
That doesn't require like the phone and all that. So,
so you said you embrace a lot of change, right? So then, what are your thoughts on the new Apple Vision Pro that they released?
the new what?
The Apple Vision Pro that they released.
You saw it?
You saw it? It's like
I
the
don't-
VR glasses,
VR.
like
Oh yeah, I saw
virtual
that.
reality
But see,
one.
like I'm new to Apple. I'm new to because I've always had an Android, and so
What's better? Apple or Android?
well, for a while I thought Android was better,
No.
and then I actually got an iPhone. And I'm like, oh wow, this is a lot better. So I've had an iPhone for like 6 months now,
He's an Android
maybe
guy.
less. Yeah, and I don't know, it's a world of a difference. But
No, but Android gets the job done.
yeah. But
Apple always copies other people.
oh man,
Okay.
now you're getting controversial. Now you go into the Ronaldo Messi conversation.
But like, what are your thoughts on the new Vision
Well, I
Pro?
got a question for you guys.
Yes.
Who, Ronaldo and Messi? Who's Android? Who's iPhone?
I'm Android.
Is Messi the equivalent of Android or iPhone, or is Ronaldo the equivalent of iPhone or Android?
Messi's iPhone.
Messi's iPhone. Okay,
No, it's Android.
gotcha. All right, sounds good.
He's more
I'm not
useful.
answering that.
You're not saying that.
Yeah. But,
But-
you were gonna ask me something.
I mean, oh yeah, well, the question was like, what are your thoughts on the new technology, the VR technology and AI technology coming out?
AI.
Listen, AI is huge, man. I don't like AI in the sense that I feel like it's kind of eating away at the craft of arts, like the arts and crafts, the painting, the sculpting, all that stuff. To me, I admire art, the paintings, and I love that you can have your own opinion of what a frame or what a picture looks like. You know what I mean? You can have your own interpretation of art. There's like a certain beauty and rawness to art when you look at it, where you're not judgmental, but you're just looking like it's beautiful. I love it. It does something for me. It transports me to a different place. And so I feel like AI just, to me, it's just pretentious, and it paints everything in a perfect world, and it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I love to see some of these things and how they're made, and the technology is incredible. It's impressive. But from the perspective of AI versus art, yeah, to me, there's no comparison there. I'm very old school, as you can see.
So do you think the AI technology could be used for benefits, but in a beneficial way?
Absolutely, I think it can be used for benefits, but I also think that it sort of
kills a lot of
hinders
people.
the efforts of an artist.
I think it kills creativity a
It
little
kills
bit.
creativity, and it's like it's artists who have spent the countless hours trying to hone their craft, trying to be better at what they do, and then here comes AI, and someone who creates something through AI can sell a piece for whatever price, and then an artist who spent 150 hours working on this piece, will probably make less money, or just a lot
Yeah,
more hard
but-
work.
But I don't think just in arts, but I think like in academic or like just learning itself, I think it's also hindering that. Even though it's easy,
Yeah.
right? Just get the answer right there. But
I heard about that. Like kids now at schools, like some of them can get the answers really really easily, and if they're working on an essay, they can get help with that too. So like to me, that's like
I mean, to a degree.
plagiarism, and it's like you're getting help.
I mean,
Let's
Is
let's
that a
actually
good thing,
debate. Let's actually debate about this one, because I'm a guy who actually uses AI for help, right? So I actually use AI. I know for a fact he uses AI.
what are you talking about? I'm art.
Uh,
Clean.
But the way I use AI is basically like to do my research for me, right? Like rather than going through like 100 Google links, I would rather just input the question that I have,
Right.
and then just get the summary of it. You know the old school Google summary block that we used to get?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did get rid of it, but they just replaced it with AI.
Mm-hmm.
But so basically it's the same thing. So why not just get that, save myself a lot of time,
Yeah.
right? So if I were to actually spend like 5 hours doing my homework, I would just 2 hours.
Yeah, I guess listen, it's got its pros and cons, right? Like everything else. But I honestly, I haven't had the time to understand everything AI does for us to actually have an opinion other than just certain things. So, but I hear that even like in the finance world or whatever it may be, either it's got its pros, and it saves a lot of time
I
for
mean, it
people.
did get to the point where they have a new role,
Yeah.
an AI manager role in some of AI manager. I forgot the job description and job
Mm-hmm.
name, but they do have an AI job where they are basically in charge of like taking care of like AI works
Oh, wow, that's
and
interesting.
stuff. And
Awesome.
they also have, I believe Sam Altman said that there might be a possibility that for like more human like
Yeah.
thoughts with ChatGPT.
Okay.
And yeah, and some there is going to be. He said that he didn't mention anything specifically, but this was the World Business event they
Nice.
have every year.
Yeah.
He said that there's gonna be stuff coming up pretty
Awesome.
I
fast.
mean, talking
So,
about AI, but
Yeah.
even though it's opening up jobs, we had this conversation before, but
yeah,
it's also killing jobs. And if you think about it,
I would
if
say
you know
that.
how to use AI, it could do a lot of stuff like for you. That could just kill so many jobs.
So many jobs, just like robots came about and they started killing like manufacturing jobs and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know, so
I mean, to a degree, if you really look at it from entrepreneurial perspective, right?
They're a little
yeah.
bit. It's free money. They're saving money, right?
Hey, I'm looking at it from an
Right.
entrepreneurial perspective. I'm starting my own company right now.
Mm-hmm.
Would I rather hire 100 people, paying them $10, like $16, $17 an hour,
Yeah.
or am I putting in a monthly installment $1,000? Like boom, there's a machine that does the 100 people's job in like one day.
Right. I guess,
So
like I
like
said, it depends how you look at it and who's benefiting. And like I said, you make a good point. As long as it's not killing jobs and taking over, that's what's
but
important.
there's regardless of what happens, I think like a new tool, right? It gets introduced, it kills the old jobs but creates new jobs.
Yeah.
The reason why I would say is like, let's say for example, like calculators, they didn't exist for a long time. Obviously, people had to do their math in their head.
Mm.
So, but when they got replaced with calculators, there was people who got replaced by were the people who knew how to use a calculator.
Right.
So that's basically, it doesn't like kill all the jobs. Like right now, AI came about. Did it kill all the jobs? Technically, yes, but it made a lot of people's jobs easier.
Right.
And I guess some people just learned how to utilize AI and they got more of an improvement.
Gotcha.
And it did create more jobs because now there's a person who's like, AI market manager, someone.
Right.
So technically, yes, there are pros, there are cons, but then there are also like the fact that everything has its pros and cons,
Yeah. Of
essentially.
course.
But it's there though.
I would agree.
Yeah, like you said about entrepreneurs' perspective. I mean, if you're a worker, like if you just got fired,
Right.
who fired me? This robot. Like you'll feel like what? Now you're left with nothing, right?
Got fired by a
What
robot. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, that now you're like just like if you're a mechanic, right? You know how to. You've been repairing cars forever. Now an AI could do it.
Yeah.
Now you have to teach yourself how to do this new skill or learn something new, right? So it's just it's controversial. It's good.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
also
have a
bad.
story on how about that. So aircraft mechanics, right? They have to log in every single maintenance that they do on the aircraft, right? So in previous years, it used to be paper. So you just take out the logbook, or it's called the logbook. It's just a paper with like what you did, right? So you just write in what this is the thing that I did on this aircraft at this time, in accordance with this manual or this whatever that they used, right? But what happened is American Airlines, specifically talking about them, they recently swapped from paper to paperless. So they
Okay.
went digital, all iPads.
Yeah.
So the older generation, this this is like the VP herself. She kind of told us like how like she struggled with transitioning from that, and like how she had to be a good leader in that position. Right, it was a great story.
Yeah.
But she explained how switching from that to that as in the rate that she did, it actually impacted the company because a lot of the people that were like in the older generations did not know how to maneuver
Got it.
through it.
Okay.
But what they did was they actually had they said, oh, let's hold on it, let's send everyone to training to learn how to use it properly, and then after that do it, because the Federal Aviation Administration really take cares about uh logbooks, and if there is a missing logbook for a maintenance that was done, it could be
Got it. Okay.
federal crime.
That makes sense.
So that was a whole thing, but that explains how like a lot of people could stress out. Like some people they decided to quit because they didn't know how to use it. They couldn't get grasp their minds around it.
Wow. That's interesting. It's a great story. It's
Enough.
Good way to put it.
Enough of AI. Let's,
Like, we're moving on from AI.
let's talk about
It's a new topic for me.
let's talk about you more. How
Sure.
did like your youth? Let's talk about your youth, like education. What did you want to do? Yeah, more of that.
So if we go back, way back, I'm originally born and raised in Panama City, Panama. Proud to be from there. Yeah, my childhood was out there up until I was 12. My family decided to move out here, so we came to the U.S. Went to school out here and had to learn the language, new culture, new friends, had to leave my friends and family behind. So it was tough. It was a tough transition for me. Even though I think at that age, 12 would be a lot better than if I came as an adult. I think it would be a lot tougher. So I sort of assimilated with the way of life a little bit easier when I was 12. And learning the language became a little bit easier. I got really into it. I wanted to learn English really well, Spanish being my first language. So but it was a good transition. Loved it out here. Didn't like the winters.
Oh yeah, I
So I
hate
had
it
to
right
get
now.
used to that, coming from like 80, 90 degree weather in a humid country. But yeah, education. I went to high school out here. The opportunity presented itself for me to go away. So I told my parents, "See you later." Going to the Midwest, want to play soccer out there. So I ended up in St. Louis at Lindenwood University. Spent 4 years there, played ball there, and came back. Started working in New York, and I'm here. But yeah, just got my bachelor's out there. Didn't go to grad school. I wanted to, but didn't quite fulfill that. But yeah, that's a little bit about my education, my background.
So how was that culture assimilation? How hard was it, and the language learning and everything?
Yeah, it was tough because even though there were a lot of Hispanics at the time, well, there still are, but where I moved to Jersey City, there were a lot of Hispanics. So I met kids in the street who were like, some of them were bilingual, so it kind of helped a little bit. But it was still tough, because you knew you had to learn the language. You didn't have a choice if you really wanted to make it out here. I'm like, all right, I got to learn the language. How do I do that? And I think the best way for me was like struggling with like verbal interaction with the kids out in the street, playing with them. But I learn, and yeah, but it was tough at first, but as years went by, I just kind of like realized this is where I live now. This is my life now. This is where my parents wanted to come, so it was okay. I think little by little you start meeting new people, and you make friends, and that makes it easier. So it was all right.
So how how did you feel like what are what are some ways that you would like suggest other kids who are facing in the same situation right now, like go through it?
Yeah, it's not easy. I feel like some kids have it tougher than others. But I think it's just like staying tight with your family, with your close friends. Just kind of believing in your family that they're doing the best they can with you to put you in a good place. And just taking advantage of all the little things that come your way, whether it's at school or programs like CITC. Just taking advantage of those community-based things. It's the best thing you can do. It's just staying close and just being a good person, and I would say that.
if you're liking this podcast, make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Over 90% of you guys have not subscribed yet. So subscribe right now.
90%. What? Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
90%
no.
is
You
crazy.
got to subscribe. If you like it, if you're enjoying it, you got to subscribe. That
Exactly.
way you see all of the next, personalities coming up.
Exactly.
This is fun. This is fun.
We're trying to reach 500. So make
Let's
sure
do
you
it.
subscribe.
Let's do it. Let's grow the fan base.
So let's talk about more soccer-based questions.
Sure.
Favorite
let's do it.
team?
Favorite national team? Panama.
Okay.
Argentina's second.
Argentina
Club?
club.
Wow.
This
Wow,
is gonna be
that's a tough
interesting.
one. Whoa.
Okay.
New York City Football Club. That's your answer.
And the European.
European?
Yeah. Man City.
It's a trick question. Manchester City. That's
Was
your
it because it was?
answer. I just like Man City, man.
It took too
I do
long?
look. I like Real Madrid too. I like Real Madrid too. Not gonna lie to you. I've
Okay.
always liked them. Yeah.
Favorite player? Right now.
Favorite current player?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go there, man. Messi.
Let's see.
Lionel Messi.
What are
There
your
we
thoughts
go.
on,
We
what are
got
your thoughts on him coming
Right
to
now.
Inter
now,
Miami?
yes.
Messi's the best right now.
I didn't say. When did I say he was the best? You asked
So
me
he's
my
not-
favorite.
so he's
player
not- so
right
he's not
now.
the best.
Right now though. Like right now, who's the
Is,
best
he, is
player?
he my favorite or is he the best player? Which one are you asking?
Favorite
Okay, so-
player.
Now the best player. Who's the best player right now?
The best player in the world right now? Oh man,
Bellingham.
I don't know, man. I think it's hard to argue against.
No way, bro. Said Bellingham.
I don't know, man. I think Mbappe is just all around, phenomenal player. I how can you argue against Mbappe right now? But I mean, you have some deadly strikers like Haaland. But if I have to pick one, I'd say Mbappe. He's probably the best player in the world right
So what are your thoughts on Mbappe moving to Real Madrid?
Oh yeah, that's
maybe
right now
now. That's a
today.
new one, right? That just happened like a few hours ago.
But he's like,
Wait, is it definitively like?
he's saying that. But it's been happening since like last year, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's going. He's not going. He's
You
going.
see,
he's not-
you think he should go?
I think he outgrew PSG. I think
Hell yeah.
it's a it's a massive club in France, but I think he's in his right to want to move on to a new challenge, and so I think Real Madrid presents that challenge, and it's a winning team. I think he'll do great there. So hopefully he embraces that.
I mean, I think that's the missing puzzle for Real Madrid.
I mean, it's a great team. I mean, they're still at the top of La Liga right now. You know what I mean? They're over Girona, who's our sister club. But they're solid. But I think if he can add to that attacking, 5, attacking 3, with Vinny and Rodrigo, I think he'll fit right in. I mean, he can play as a number 9 easily.
You think he'll be the best Real Madrid after the
I mean,
transfer?
if he goes there, I think there'll be a force to reckon with. I mean, that'll make them that much stronger. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see Madrid, Los Blancos, with Mbappe. I'm
So,
excited.
What are your thoughts on Messi, your favorite player, moving on
Oh
to
yeah, I gotta
moving on to MLS, competing against the team that you work
Yeah,
for?
but it's okay. I mean,
What are your thoughts on that?
I remember like being in the office when that happened, and everybody just kind of like lost their minds. It's amazing for the game. It's amazing for the MLS. It's exponentially growing the game out here. Kind of puts MLS on the map where a lot of people from all over the world are noticing. And also like Americans are noticing. So I think it's a beautiful thing to have Messi here. I mean, he's already getting up there in age. This is not the retirement league, the MLS, but I think he's always been a fan of his of Miami and his wife as well and his family. So I think it's a perfect fit for him. I called it, man. I knew he was going to come to Miami. I'm telling you,
Man,
I
want
had
him
a
to go to
feeling he was going to come
Barca,
to Miami
man.
because he got met with Beckham in the past, and I could just see him coming to the U.S. and because he loves the weather in Miami, and I could see him playing in Miami. So I think it's huge for the MLS to have him here.
What's your thoughts on the Saudi league compared to
MLS.
MLS?
You like which one? I think it's more competitive.
I mean, yeah, why not? Let's answer that.
Let's
too.
answer that.
What do you guys think? I don't know. I mean, I think they're somewhat at the same level. Some would argue that it's stronger, but then you see teams like Al Hilal, for example.
Yeah,
I mean, that team is stacked from
Yeah.
top to bottom. That team can compete with anyone in Europe. I wouldn't say maybe like Man City and Real Madrid and Leverkusen.
They got all the names.
But that team is solid. You got Mitrovic, right? When Neymar was healthy, he's recovering now. But like, Malcolm and Savage, Ruben Neves. I mean, it's just a solid team all around. They're a very hard team to beat. But then there's a huge disparity between like Al Hilal, Al Ittihad, Al Nassr, and then the rest of the teams, right? So it's like a big disparity.
Yeah, I think the 4 teams are bought by the Saudi government and they're funded by them.
I think
believe.
Saudi
Right.
Arabia's. I think Project Saudi Arabia is huge because Saudi Arabia is actually trying to grow because they're doing so many events, so many boxing events. They're lifting a lot of stuff they
Right.
never lifted before. So I think Saudi is they're trying to take
Yeah,
off
I mean,
right now.
there's a lot of wealth out there, and they can afford the players. The teams are heavily funded, and so of course it attracts a lot of talent from Europe. Maybe their value goes up, and so. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about the comparison. I think the MLS is a strong league as it is. I think it's only getting better, and yeah, I think you see a lot of players that are somewhat in their prime or a little bit past their prime coming here. So they're not like mid-30s anymore coming here. They're like, oh no, they're like 28 to 30, 31, coming to the US and playing here. You know what I mean? Like
So would you-
Forsberg is a perfect example.
So would you rank Saudi League better than MLS?
No, I would rate like a couple of their clubs probably above
But
most
if it was
clubs
like
in the US.
All-star both. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Listen, I don't know. I don't have the answer, man. Like I said, it'd be interesting. I mean, you saw Miami go out there and just get smacked 6-0.
Oh, yeah, man.
I know like Messi wasn't playing or whatever, but still, like there was a big disparity in the level of play, the way they were, building out of the back, knocking passes around, playing together, and like Al Hilal was way above Inter Miami in that level, so that capacity. So
You saw what happened in Tokyo where Messi didn't play?
Yeah,
People were
that was a
going
big
crazy.
commotion.
yeah, Hong Kong, I think it was
Hong
it?
Kong,
Yeah,
yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah. I think it was in Hong Kong. But yeah, listen, I don't blame those people. I mean, they paid a lot of money to see him, and
Yeah.
he sits on the bench. It's not his decision; it's the coach's decision. But I think it's wrong for marketing purposes. Not only that, but imagine paying all this money and Messi not playing. I think people are in their right to be upset. I don't know. How do you guys feel?
Honestly, it depends. Obviously, if he was injured, right? So you don't want to really kill your star player, right? You have a whole MLS season coming up. You want to win everything, but also as a fan, you're paying like 200 or something just to watch one guy. Basically,
Right.
it's very. So,
But it's not like he was like, super injured or hobbling around, or like, I guess we wouldn't know how injured he was, but I think like even putting him out there at the end, just to serve the purpose of people, in the region just watching him there, you know what I mean, and on the field, I think it would say a lot. So I was surprised that the coach didn't put him in.
So what are your thoughts on like having players who are star players, like for example like Neymar, Ronaldo, like Mbappe, right? Even though they might be injured or might not want to use their star players in games that are not that important, right? So let's say for like obviously off-season games. So do you think that they not using their players like that is good or bad?
No, I think if you as a coach know that your top player is not 100% at full capacity, then yeah, I think you're in your right to sit them out, and yeah, I mean just sit them out and do what's best for the player. And it could be a collaboration of differing advice from the agent or the director of coaching or this person or that person, where like, okay, he shouldn't be playing because he's nursing an injury, he's going to need another week or two of recovery, whatever it may be. So I get that part. But in terms of Hong Kong, like I said, for me, at least what I know, it was that he might not have been 100%, but he was fully capable of playing.
but
that day.
speaking about injuries, don't you think Neymar is a bit like, what is he doing? He was injured every year. Let's hear it.
Well, I mean, like, Some players are more prone to injury than
Sometimes I
others.
think he's
You think he's
just
faking it?
lying. Yeah, like
Well,
he's chilling and like
I don't know if you
he's
can fake an
flipping.
ACL right now, and he's recovering from a
I
tear.
mean-
So
He's-
hoping for a
he's
speedy
living life.
recovery for him. Listen, I don't know. I mean, it was a really horrible injury, and he's recovering, and he's making a comeback, and he's taking the proper measures and steps to recover. So I'm all for his recovery, and I wish him well. I happen to be a big fan of Neymar, and he's just one of those guys who had like a target on his back, and because he acted a certain way and took some dives, it became a stigma, and so I feel bad for him,
Yeah.
So like, what are your thoughts on should Neymar get a Ballon d'Or before he retires?
I'm sorry, I didn't even hear.
Get a Ballon d'Or
Man,
before he retires.
he's done, man.
Well, I mean, you got to earn that, right? You're not just gonna get it because you're Neymar. I mean, you got to earn it. You got to put up.
Do you
put
think
up
that he
numbers.
deserves one? What is like all the past years like?
I mean, I think he's had some years, but I think his years in Barcelona, he was class, and I think he's past his prime. I think the injuries haven't helped him a lot, and so unless he comes back and has a solid season after season, I don't know how he can get a Ballon d'Or. Now you got to put up stats, you got to contribute to goals, you got to you score, you got to have assists, you got to make a difference, you got to start. It really depends what he does, and I think being in a club like Al Hilal puts him at a disadvantage. Say if he was playing in one of the top 5 leagues and one of the top clubs in Europe. So I think it's a little bit tougher because now it's like it's tougher for him to be like, well, why are we going to give the award to someone in a league like the Saudi league, which may be ranked 10th, 15th, 20th in the world. So yeah.
So what are your thoughts on Messi getting the best FIFA player award being in MLS?
Honestly,
You
bro,
brought
this
it
one,
there, so
You answer
know,
that one.
this one, the one, like the
You're asking if he deserves it?
If he deserves it, and or does he actually deserve it? And being in the MLS league and not even in the top 5 leagues,
Yeah.
how does that feel? And
I think he made an immediate impact coming into the MLS, right? Right away, those U.S. Open Cup, I think it was the U.S. Open Cup, he made a difference right away. He was scoring. He won them a few games, but does it necessarily mean that he has to win it? Is he in his right, and is it well deserved? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm a fan of him, but honestly, I don't think it was for him. I think there were other candidates out there.
So who do you think should have deserved it?
I don't know. Holland was incredible.
I mean, bro, he won everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Everything.
like I said, you have to stay healthy in order to get that. So, yeah. But I mean, no, Messi won the World Cup and all that. But
the last one wasn't for the World Cup. It was.
Yeah, the last one was not for the World
it was
Cup.
the 2023 year.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't think he did enough to win it. Even though I could be a huge fan of him, but I don't think he did enough. So
do you think that the FIFA is kind of favoring them? Favoring
I
him?
don't know. I'm not gonna answer that.
FIFA.
Favoritism for
FIFA
Messi.
favoritism.
I mean, everybody has their own opinions on that, but I mean, you can't take away what he's done for the game, and how incredible of a player he is, even at his age. Compared to 10 years ago, when he was at his prime at Barcelona or whatever. But I would say that he had a really good year. Don't get me wrong. Even with PSG, you'd think oh, he didn't do enough. No, he did a lot for PSG. He really did. He was playing really well. He was contributing to goals. He was putting up numbers. But I don't think he was, at the top in comparison to other players who made a huge difference for their clubs.
Okay.
So what are some moments in your life, right, that has shaped you to be the person you are? Maybe it might sound a bit repetitive, but what are some of those key moments that really shaped you to end up in this career right here?
I think maybe looking back when I was a kid, my parents instilling those work ethics, my dad allowing me to play the game as much as possible, in Panama and all of our countries, pretty much it's the biggest game in the world. It's the most popular game. But Panama is also known for baseball. We have a lot of talented baseball players, and boxing, a lot of other sports. And soccer now is growing to a national level where the team has become really, really, the National League has become really, really competitive. And then we have a great national team now. But I think, just looking back to the way my parents raised me and learning to love the game, stay close to it, and just try to make a difference through the game somehow. And I think I found that working with the various clubs and trying to give it back to the community. So yeah, I think it starts at home.
Okay, what are some fun stuffs you do for your spare time, like
Wow.
other than soccer?
I was gonna say, I just joined a soccer league on a Wednesday night. I play in Hoboken, so that's fun. But I love spending time with my kids. My son plays hockey. Love going to his hockey games.
You support a hockey team?
New York Rangers. I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't watch hockey, so
Yeah.
hopefully they're good.
I'm a Rangers fan. I have been for many years. But I love hockey. I when I was a teenager, I played a little bit of street hockey, roller hockey, tried ice hockey for a little bit. So he developed that passion for hockey and not soccer, which is completely okay. But yeah, just going to see his games, spending time with my kids, and I like music as well. I like drumming. I took on drumming when I was like 15, 16, just for fun. It's just a hobby that I do occasionally, but love that. I love reading books, love hiking, love spending time with friends and family, and yeah. So, yeah. What about you guys? Tell me about what you guys like doing.
Or do we do like?
Soccer nerds.
I mean, I personally don't watch a lot of soccer,
Yeah,
but what I really do enjoy is like playing soccer.
yeah.
I don't know why I just never.
You guys are
play-
great though. You're great players. I've seen you play.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm like,
You guys got the
Talk about
skills.
it. I'm not the best at it, but I play for fun. I lived in Egypt, right? I grew up there, so the Egypt soccer national team is like Mohammed Salah, like
Yeah, of course.
oh yeah.
so like ever since then I used to only play soccer, but I never watched any soccer games or any sports at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went with that until like since like the 2022 World Cup.
Oh wow.
That's the only. That's
That's
the
the
first.
only thing you watch.
That's the only thing that I watched.
There's
Oh
no way.
wow. Okay.
That's the only thing that I watched.
Missing out, man.
It's the best game you
We gotta
watch.
catch you up.
So, yeah.
So, but I don't really like look at all the players. I just play soccer for fun, the fun
Yeah.
of it. But I never really like look at the games. Like you guys mentioned like a lot of players. Like I was like,
right.
I was like,
Who are
alright.
these players?
Who are these
Nah,
players?
that's just because we're passionate about the game. But I think it's all about enjoying the game, man, having fun. I mean, I feel like if you're playing, you're not having fun, then why do it? I think it's all about enjoyment of the game. So you playing soccer just to have a good time as a hobby, that's incredible, man. I've been down that road many times where I'm not playing competitively. I just want to get out there because for me, it's an outlet to play soccer, right? It puts me in a happy place, physical activity, and I'm just enjoying time with my friends. And I don't want to get injured. I don't want to play in a super competitive league that could potentially happen. So I think enjoyment of the game is massive. So
Yeah, I think like a lot of people focus on the fact that you need to watch the game to understand the game, right? But me personally, like I had this idea whenever I feel stressed out or like stuff that I don't want to just like just forget about everything, just go on. Sometimes I just go out with my friends and just play soccer.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
When you
great
when you play
outlet.
soccer, you just what I have realized is that you don't really think about
You just
anything
forget
else.
about
You
everything. Yeah.
just play with them.
Check in. How do they say? Check all your problems at the door. So
Yeah,
to
that's
speak.
just- that's
Then you can
literally
have
it.
a stressful day, but then you get out there to the field and you forget about everything. Regardless of what profession you're in, what you do for a living. At the end of the day, everybody kind of meets up on that field, and that's all that matters.
It's not
it's
just
that
soccer.
moment.
It's
Yeah.
whatever you love to do.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
And I don't do it as much as I used to. I miss it, man. I miss
Yeah.
it. So like joining this league once a week on Wednesday nights for me, a co-ed league is great. It's just like, wow, it puts things into perspective. Like I really miss this. I remember like years ago, I was playing consistently, like religiously every Wednesday night for years at Pier 40, like spring, summer, fall, winter Warriors League, like nonstop. I couldn't get enough of it. And then I stopped. And so I missed that. I know that, obviously like, you have kids and things happen along the way. Life slows down a little bit, and then you stop doing the things that you love for a bit, and then you realize, like, I really want to get back to that because I miss that.
What do you play? Left wing? What
Position?
yeah, position? Yeah.
position.
Yeah, you mentioned left wing. That's funny.
It is-
I'm a righty, but I can use my left as well. But I like the wings. I've always found myself operating better as a 7-11, but left wing, cutting inside with my right. a playmaker.
Messi,
You know,
Messi.
ripping it from
I can hear
outside
it
the
now.
box, making runs into the box, 1-2s with the 9. You know, yeah, I would say wings. You know, 7-11 position, but I can also play as an 8. You know, or an attacking midfielder as well.
Okay.
Terrible defender. Don't ask me to be a
I
center
I
back
could call it
or a
for you.
goalie. I'm awful.
Damn, they put, bro. Talking about me,
Yeah.
I used to be chubby, right? So I used to be goalie, man. It was good. It was good as it lasted, but
Yeah.
I tried to move
Fractured
in,
his ribs.
transition. But I was one of the best goalies in the block.
I'm afraid of the ball, so I don't like to be a goalie.
I used to
I
like-
just do this.
I used to
Yeah.
be brave, but now I try to transition into it because whenever my mom used to come watch me, it was like, "Why are you goalie? Like that's the most boring thing. You're not the star." So like, then I was like, "Yeah, you're right." So I try to be like, go up, try to score some goals.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Like if it's not for you, it's not for you. Like you know, when I run my sessions, you know, if I run clinics or whatever, a class, you know, the kids are like, you know, fighting to be goalie. Like I want to be goalie. They all put their gloves on. There's like 3-4 goalies, and I have to pick like one of them to be. I'm like, all right, you're gonna be a goalie for 3 minutes, or if you get scored on, then this guy's the goalie. So like they're like fighting to be a goalkeeper. And,
That's the first time I
and
hear it.
when I was no, it happens. Like the kids like they want to be goalies. And like when I grew up, I was like, no, I'm not gonna be goalie. I would cry if I had to go in goal. I'd be like, no, you know, kidding me? I want to be a number 9. I want to score all the goals. So
talking about your team,
yeah,
you played. So I don't know really about like how Dusk works. So
Mm-hmm.
you guys compete in different tournaments or?
so Dusk Downtown United. Yeah. So when I was there, I came in not necessarily as an academy coach, although I really wanted to coach. But I came in a little bit more in a similar role to what I have now, which was to expand programs and deal with the classes and the clinics and the recreation league and sort of just make sure logistics were in place and communication with parents and things like that. But yeah, I had the opportunity to coach a developmental team first, and then I moved on to an academy team, a U15 team. Yeah, that was fun. But our team was playing in the Cosmopolitan Junior Soccer League here in New York. They play in all 5 boroughs. It was fun. Play home and away games, and yeah, it was a great experience for the guys.
Because I remember like Mauricio, right? I ref at Soccer Roof,
Mm-hmm.
and then I remember Mauricio brought his team, and man, they were crazy. They were crushing all.
Talented.
Yeah, they're 12-0, 20-0. I'm like, yo, relax.
Maurice's a great coach. You know, he's a great coach.
Yeah, we're
so
gonna
so
have
yeah,
him.
I mean, you know, these teams they practice consistently on a weekly basis, 2-3 times a week. So you know, they build that bond with the players. They develop a lot of chemistry, and you know, Dusk has always been a club that's been known for you know, tactically, you know, they're sound, and they're looking for new ways, innovating, and how to play the game. You know, with different philosophies and different methodologies, and so you know, they bring that to the field, and they instill those ways into the players, and then they're able to perform. So yeah, it's a very talented club, top to bottom, boys program, girls program. You know, the adult team, the U23s, just talented all around. So I'm happy that I had the chance to coach there and you know, learn a lot from incredible coaches. You know, very high level coaches.
Wait, so how did you get introduced to program managing though? Because did you
Yeah.
always wanted to do it, or like?
No, I
how
think
did
it
you
was
get
just
introduced?
like opportunity met luck kind of thing. I was coaching for Super Soccer Stars at the time, and then I was doing a camp out in the west side, and I would frequent Pier 40 a lot, and then I had a few friends that worked at Dusk at the time, and so I just happened to ask if one of the guys was working, and struck a conversation with who happened to be the director of programs for Dusk at the time. So we just kind of had small talk about soccer, and you know, he asked me about like, hey, how does your program operate, and you know, where are you guys coaching? What's your camp like? And I just hit it off, had a great conversation. He's like, hey, by the way, you know, like, do you have any experience, you know, with programs and things like that? I'm like, yeah, very limited, but I love the game. I've been coaching a while, and so it just turned into, hey, would you like to come in for an interview next week? And I was like, wait, what? that's so cool.
So I guess
Yeah,
that's
sure. I'd
good.
love to come in. So, I sent my resume, the whole thing. And then, yeah, I got into Dusk by that way.
So what's your thoughts about connections? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously that's huge.
Because that's how you
Like
even
the
got your.
youth, they need to learn how to make connections. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always pushing for like interaction and just networking events, knocking on doors, kind of just find ways to get your foot in the door. But I think you need to build those connections, and I think like even playing soccer, like you're always going to meet someone who does this, who does that. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm in IT. I'm like, oh, I work for these programs. I manage this club. I work for this nonprofit, whatever it may be. So I think that networking, those capabilities, if you can build those, whatchamacallit, skills, I think it puts you in a good place. So you never know what opportunity may come your way, but I think you got to put yourself out there and interact with people. I'm huge. I'm huge with that.
Because everyone has their own stories. I mean, as a young person, you could learn like bits of information. I could ask you like, "What do you do?"
Yeah.
And then you could learn like, "Oh, I'm a data analyst, or I'm this or that."
Yeah.
So you could really pick up on these stuff and be like, "Oh, that's actually pretty interesting. Let me try that." So I think connections is huge in like anything,
Yeah.
not in job related stuff. So
Yeah, I think just like expanding and your bandwidth and your network, it's important. It doesn't matter if you're like 18 or 19 or in college. Like, hey, listen, create a LinkedIn account, put yourself out there. I'm a student studying here. I'm pursuing a career here. The courses you've taken, the certifications you've taken, your licenses. Like, start to build that repertoire of education, and then eventually land an internship, where like money's not that important. It's about building that resume. So resume building skills, and it says a lot about you when you start to work on that stuff. You know what I mean? So before you know it, opportunity comes, and then you run with it. For me, I didn't go knocking on anyone's door. I was coaching,
opportunity.
but I was still looking for a full-time job at the time. And like I said, I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, spoke to the right person, and then I got myself in. Like, okay, well, this is my background. I love the game. I love to help out in whichever capacity, and then that led me to coach, academy, and so it worked out. And so I'm here now, and I'm looking forward to expanding and growing as an individual and learning as much as possible here.
What's the best way to actually connect with someone?
The best way to
Connect with someone, like actually network, like someone you don't know, but you wanna. So let's say, for example, I didn't know you, right?
yeah.
But I saw your LinkedIn, and then I'm like, oh, I wanna talk to you, or like I see this random person on a news channel or something, and that I wanna reach out to them.
Yeah.
What are some ways that you would suggest reaching out to the people?
Yeah, it's always a tough one because, you don't want the person to think that you're trying too hard or whatever it may be. But I think, a quick message, or if you have full visibility to their email address, then that means that they're open for you sending an email or possibly a resume. But it doesn't hurt to ask someone like, hey, listen, I saw that we connected on LinkedIn. This is who I am, and I saw that your company has a position open. I'm curious if I would be able to speak to someone, or if you have a contact that can help me. Like, it may never be looked at, it's possible, but at least you're trying to, and it says a lot about you that you're kind of throwing that fishing line out there to see if you hook anything. So knocking on doors, I would say, just knocking on doors. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to do it.
But at the same time, you don't want to be annoying.
Intrusive.
Yeah,
exactly. I get that. So there's like a thin line there where you have to figure out how to best do it. But don't be afraid to knock on doors, because I've done it myself too in the past. So
I mean, at the intern that I was trying to do, I've been trying to intern with you guys for a while now. But obviously, you don't want to be annoying or like be like, hey, Alex, could you talk to this person? Could you refer me to this person? You need to keep that healthy balance. Okay, he'll do it. Just trust the process.
Right.
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you can't put.
And I think it's just having a good mix of, like I said, building that network, meeting people, interacting, and sort of selling yourself, right? Like, this is who I am. This is my resume. This is my cover letter. this is what I'm equipped with. This is the education that I've received, and this is why I would like to work for this company. So looking for those positions, going on these platforms to find positions that are open, that are aligned with what you do and what you want to do, knowing that there are another 50, 100, 150 candidates out there who are going to be doing the same thing as you, but it's like, what sets you apart? How do you put yourself on the map? What is the skill set that you have that's going to be seen? And I always tell if I'm speaking or I'm talking to kids about like resume building and things like that, it's like, hey, be different, be creative, be witty, find ways where you stand you stand out from the rest. But hone your craft also. Be polished as you possibly can, so that when opportunity comes knocking, you're ready for that.
All right.
My question for you. This is like the famous question that we ask every
We end off like this.
We end off like this too. So what's an advice you will give to yourself 3 years ago, or to someone who's younger than you?
Advice, like a life advice.
Life advice or career advice, whatever advice you choose, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things I can say, but I would say stay humble and stay the course. And by that I mean it says a lot about you when you can stay humble, when you can accept your flaws, but you can also work on improving yourself, on loving yourself, on knowing what you bring to the table, that you can make a difference. So I think having that positive self-talk consistently, those positive affirmations about yourself, go a long way, because they can help you get far in life, and then they make you a better person, and at the same time a better employee, a better colleague, a better friend, a better son, a better daughter. So knowing that you matter, you bring a lot to the table, you make a difference, you contribute, words like you said, contribution. So knowing that you're worth it, and just these positive affirmations. And by staying the course, I mean that, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Like, life is long, and find that career path and your passion towards something you want to accomplish and become, and do whatever it takes to get there. Sky's the limit kind of thing. Just stay the course, stay focused, and don't let any external things derail you from reaching that path of success. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming in, joining
you
us
for
today
having me.
on the
You guys were
podcast
awesome.
today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up high.
And
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for watching Hard to Mic, produced by Mar Studios. And please do leave a like, subscribe, and comment, because most of you guys are not even subscribed. Please,
Oh man,
but
you gotta subscribe, guys. What's going on?
Subscribe.
Don't
But
just
yeah.
like it. Subscribe. Come on.
subscribe, follow. You guys know what to do.
Share.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Do all of them. Everything.
Everything on this.
All of the above.
But
Oh.
we are going to be having a lot of like good career advices coming up in the upcoming podcast and even now. And if you guys are not subscribed, you guys are missing out on them. Like there's definitely like a lot of gems that you guys are missing. So yeah, please do subscribe and follow us.